What's going on, guys? This is Pavel. We are here in Prague, Czech Republic, and today my guest on Force to Speak is Ari Abdul.
What is up? It is Ari. I'm in Prague for the first time. I'm so sweaty. Are you allowed to curse?
Yeah.
I'm sweaty as fuck, but I'm so happy to be here in Prague.
And we're happy to have you here. And obviously my first question, since your first time, what is like your first impression of Prague?
It is so beautiful. Like, it's honestly probably one of the most unreal cities I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm pretty new to like just traveling a lot. Ever since I started touring, I started going to, I went to Europe for the first time. But like, this city is just so unreal. Like, it doesn't even look real. It's so beautiful.
Okay, nice. And
yeah.
I think you just came back from a lunch. Did you have a chance to try like a traditional stuff, or did you go for something like...
I did that last night. I went to this one Czech place. I'm not too sure what I ate because the menu was all in Czech, but I was like, I'll take this one, like whatever it is. But it was like a steak beef thing, and it like had potatoes, but it was really good. It was amazing.
Okay. So you get to try the local stuff as well. And I know this story's been told like probably millions of times, but can you go back to that story, like how you lost your ID and then actually it like started your music career? Like
it's my favorite story. I could tell it a million times. Long story short, or I guess like a pretty lengthy story. I started college, or I guess over here they call it university, in 2019, and on my very first day of school, my ID like disappeared, but it was kind of freaky. It was kind of scary because like it was nowhere to be found. It like fully disappeared. Like, couldn't find it. I was like, that's weird.
Okay.
I'll just get a new one. It's like $10 to get a new one. I don't care. Right. So I go, and coincidentally that same exact day, my best friend Thomas, who ended up producing all my first music and essentially got me into doing music, he lost his wallet, which also doesn't, it's not like a common thing to lose stuff, and he doesn't really lose things either. So we happened to go to the same place at the same exact time, and I'm waiting online, and he's behind me, and he's just like, hey, I like your clothes. And I'm like, who is this guy talking to me? Like, what's he want? He's just like talking, and I'm like, okay. And then he's like, what music do you like? You look like you listen to cool music. So I'm naming the most basic bands to him.
What bands did you name?
I was like the 1975, like the Neighborhood,
okay.
Like the most basic bands. And he was like, oh, I love all of them. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're lying to me. And he's like, yeah. And like, he was naming songs. And then ever since that, we were just inseparable, and we were just like, we wouldn't shut up about music. And it was funny because we didn't go to school for music at all or anything like arts related.
Okay.
We were actually both studying business. I was doing marketing and he was doing economics. So the most boring thing in the world. And then, we just stood really, like we just stayed close. And then the pandemic happened, and then we didn't see each other for a while. But once people started going out again, he was like, why don't you come to the studio? And I was like, shit, I don't care. So we started going there, and eventually he was like, why don't you make a song? And I was like, that I've never sang in my life.
Wow.
Like, why would I do that? But I was like, this could be fun.
Right.
So I just gave it a shot, and that first song we ever recorded was Baby Doll. And I mean, that's just the start of it. Yeah, like, and also like, I feel like not a lot of people know this, but it did blow up, but it wasn't overnight at all. We actually recorded the first version of the song, which isn't sped up at all. And I was like, I would post it, but I wouldn't say it was me, because you know how you feel when you watch a video of yourself talking or like singing, and
especially
you're like,
first time, like your first song.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I hate my voice. So I was so insecure, so I wouldn't say it was me singing. Like, I would not say it was me at all. And then one random day, I was like, I can't listen to this. I need to speed it up so it doesn't sound like me.
Okay.
And I posted it. This is 4 months later. And then overnight, I woke up and like all the comments were like, drop this song. And I was like, Thomas, I don't know what to do. And he was like, well, here we go. And that's officially the start of this journey.
That's awesome. And obviously you mentioned that you posted it up, so social media played a huge role in like, your career. And how was like the first feeling, like comparing, you start blowing up online, you start getting all of this, but then you actually start like doing live shows and touring. Like, how was that experience from like, getting those like, listens, views, likes, all that, to actually like standing up on a stage and having like real people in front of you? Okay,
so funny enough, I have the worst anxiety when it comes to like public speaking or standing in front of crowds. And when I still was we're not saying I dropped out of school. I didn't drop out officially, but when I was still, going to classes every day, I would purposely drop my public speaking classes because it would make me so nervous.
Okay.
And so I knew that I knew in my head at some point I would have to sing live, and it scared me so bad. And I was like, they're not gonna like it. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna look stupid. Like, I can't do it. I've never done it before. And I actually only started singing live a year ago. I started in September of 2023. And I don't know what it is, but it's like a switch in my head where I'm so nervous, and then I get out there and I kind of like get possessed. And it's just like, it's like this whole persona. And like, sometimes I like come back home and I watch these videos and I'm like, I really did that. Like, I'm going crazy. Like, I'm kind of doing so good.
Okay. That is awesome. And also, like, we noticed people have been camping out in front of the venue since, I don't know, we got here an hour ago. There already been like probably 50 or 100 of them. What's your craziest fan experience, good or bad, or something that stands out?
Okay, so I love this question. For the first time ever, well, a lot of these places are my first, like, this is my first time in Prague. I just came from Poland. It was also my first time in Poland. But I did China last month, which is rare. Not a lot of people, not a lot of artists go to China. And everyone was telling me, they're like, they're more respectful, they're very reserved, so that, they might not be loud, but they'll show up, they'll be there.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm super excited to have that opportunity to go out there, but they were probably the most passionate. Like, they were grabbing me and they were screaming. And I feel like in Europe, everyone's so loud and passionate too, but there's so much respect. They're like, oh, am I allowed to hug you? Am I allowed to do this? And I'm not used to that because I'm so new to this. So I'm like, yes, of course, you can do whatever you want. But in China, they were just like, they were insane. So I was like, it's not real to me, honestly, because I'm like, why are people here to see me? But yeah, I love it.
And also, like, what I can notice about you, that you have like a very specific style, and that's in your music and your fashion and everything. So do you have a certain inspiration, something that, like if it's like a person or a genre or whatever, or you just like go with the flow or whatever you like on, or?
So I grew up in New York City. I was fully born and raised in Brooklyn. And of course that means I was around a lot of like hip hop culture and a lot of streetwear, like a lot of skate. I would always like go to the skate park, and I feel like I was very influenced by that growing up. And also I'm the youngest, I have 2 older brothers.
Okay.
So I'd look at them and be like, oh, they're so cool.
Still their clothes and stuff?
Yeah, so I actually, there's 2 outfit choices I go for when I perform on stage, and that's either like the white shirt or like I guess more dressy outfit, or I wear a jersey, and every single jersey I've worn on all these tours are actually my brothers. Like, I've robbed them from them. So they're like, they're more vintage, but
that's cool.
That's definitely a big piece. But when I was in middle school, I was emo. So I feel like there's also that little dark aspect that going on. I have this shirt that I thrifted, which I feel like is kind of emo, which is really cool.
I actually took the liberty of just like typing your name in Google, what people are asking. So can we do this little segment that we're just gonna like see what popped up on a Google search, and you're gonna answer what people are searching for?
I'm so excited.
So when you type in Google, what is Ari Abdul? So the first one is, what genre is Ari Abdul? So what genre are you?
I posted a TikTok about this not that long ago, and it's just a video of me like lip syncing my own song, and the caption is, what genre is this? Because I don't know. I truly don't know, because I feel like for me personally, I like playing around with all my favorite genres in general and mixing them. So some songs are more like rockish, like, and some are more pop, and some are more alternative, and there's like elements of like, funk or blues or all these different things. So I'm gonna be so honest with you, I have no idea, but I feel like most of the internet calls it dark pop.
Dark pop?
I feel like everything, it's bittersweet, because I've personally grown up in the punk scene, so when I hear pop, I'm like, fuck it. But I think everything is just part, like, it's such an umbrella term for things to be pop. So I like dark pop, or I guess dark alternative is what I would consider it.
Okay. Emphasis on the dark, yeah?
It has to be dark.
You gotta keep the punk. All right. What nationality is Ari Abdul?
Love this question at all. So nationality-wise, I am American because I was, born and raised in New York City. But I feel like when people type that, I'm not sure if they mean ethnicity-wise, like my full background. And if they do mean that, well, my mother was born in Ecuador, so she is full Ecuadorian, and that makes me Ecuadorian. And then my dad was born in Costa Rica, but he is also half Palestinian.
Okay.
So I am pretty much Hispanic, Latina, Arab.
Okay. The next thing I tapped in was, is Ari Abdul blank, right? So there is Ari Abdul related to Paula Abdul? That's Google questions.
I know, I love this question because as a kid I'd watch American Idol. And she was a judge on it, and I was like, her last name is like, that's really cool that we share a last name. But I didn't think about that when I started to get into music, that people would wonder that. But I get asked that so much. They're like, is she your mom? Is that like a cousin or something? I have no relation to Paula Abdul whatsoever, but I think it's really, it's kind of iconic to me that like she's kind of like an 80s pop icon. And to like have that kind of correlation is cool.
Right, so you're glad you have that correlation.
I'm like, yeah, that's my mom.
And then the second most searched for is Ari Abdul, is Ari Abdul single? I guess we'll never know.
I am Ari Abdul, and you either know the answer or you don't know the answer, is what I'm gonna say.
All right, so this is for the Google segment, and just my very last question for this Force to Speak would be, what is your advice to young girls just starting up, trying to do the same thing? What would you tell them?
I would say just keep doing it, and because you never know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? The success I found was just like, I wasn't actually like really like expecting anything, and I went in with no expectations, and it was kind of a risk, you know what I mean? Because it's like when you do music, or I feel like when you do anything that's like related creatively, you put out so much of your heart and soul and that vulnerability, and just showing that to the world, which for me personally isn't easy a lot of the time. But it's like, put yourself out there and just keep doing your thing, and I mean, everything works out in the end. That's my motto in life. Everything works out in the end. So everything will work out in the end.
So that was Ari Abdul. Thank you so much for taking time doing this interview, and we're looking forward to the Prague show tonight.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.